Yeah.
Welcome back to the Illuminations Media Network. This is Tamara. It's been a while, I know, but I'm back with an amazing show today. In this interview today with Lee Cummings of the Negro Question book series about the journey of the so-called African American in America. A journey about discovering our identity. If you haven't noticed, many people are waking up and actually digging into our history to find out who we are. I have been trying to get this man on the show for a while, but I just want to welcome to the show Mr. Lee Cummings. He is the author of The Negro Question. And you know what that's all about. That's about us understanding who we are, where we come from, and getting to the truth of it. Well, Lee brings it. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Lee.
Well, thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm honored to have you on the show because all of your work for our community to wake us up so that we know who we are has inspired many. And of course, we know a lot of folks are copying your work, which, that's
killing me, man.
That's a very good indication that you're doing something right. Yeah?
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know what I mean? You have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to weigh it on the scale and say, okay, you know what? It's benefiting the community.
Yes.
So.
Yes, indeed. Well, Lee, you've written a whole series of books, and so we're going to get into that, the Negro Question. And but first of all, as always, I like to find out what sparked this. I mean, because you're a teacher, you write, you research, you keep everything fresh. What started all that for you?
Well, that's a question that I get from most of the camps when the brothers invite me on the shows. They ask me the same thing. Where did this come from? Well, my background is accounting, so I got a bachelor's in accounting. So one day I'm sitting at a computer, I'm working, and I know this is gonna sound whacked, but I hear this voice, inner voice, that says, "Write a book." So once I realized that our history, the history of the so-called Negro in the Americas, was spread out all around the world, I said, I'm gonna grab our history from all these museums spread out around the world. The Berlin Museum, the Pergamon Museum in Berlin, Germany, the British Museum in England, the Dura Europa Synagogue down in Syria, and all these different locations. Bring it all together, our history that's been stolen from us, and make it make sense. So in the very beginning, it was. I have to say this. It was racist. It was pro-Negro only. But then as I began to write, like the first book is probably my most aggressive tone because I was 100% aggressive when I wrote the first book. But by the time I got to the point where I'm writing the second book, it dawns on me. Everybody needs to hear the truth. Black, white, orange, and then my tone softened. Okay. And then I realized that my job was to teach the entire plant, teach all the sons of Adam.
And so that book, the first book, is that the book Who Am I? Black
Who Am I?
And White? Okay.
Who am I? The first book, Who Am I, was it was me writing in my infancy. But the tone in Who Am I, before If you go back and read that first book before I went back and rewrote it, you could feel the Marcus Garvey in my tone. You could hear the Marcus Garvey in the tone.
Did we hear a little angst?
Yes, you
A little
get
bit.
some Malcolm X in the tone, and you can. It's like it's really it's like it's a young Hebrew writing, and then you can see that as I begin to evolve, the writing is my writings are they're more family conducive to the entire family of Adam. All the
Okay,
sons of Adam. That's
everybody.
the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, yeah. So to speak on that about this young Hebrew, right? Probably mad, upset because
Man,
the truth, and it's like what?
yeah, man. Young Lee Cummings, like when I first came into the knowledge of the truth, I'd be somewhere and I could be in one of the Sunday churches teaching, and if the minister started lying, I'd want to fight right there on the spot. I mean, literally, I've said this. Now, I want you viewers, I want you to understand this happened about 13 years ago. But I've been in the church where I literally said, let's put the Bible down, let's just fight it. Let's just fight it out. That was 13 years ago. That was that Lee Cummings. So, I always tell people, you can always tell when these Hebrews first come into the truth because they're very combative,
Oh
very
yes.
very adversarial, profane. Things come out of their mouths, but that's the youth. That's the infancy. That's like a baby. You take a baby and put a gun in the baby's hand. That's the most dangerous thing that can happen.
Oh
So the same
yeah.
thing happens to these young Hebrews.
Right, right. But that's where it starts because, when I learned the truth about our history, I was upset. I was
Right.
angry. It was worse than when I found out there was no Santa Claus. And I was upset about that,
Man.
when
Oh, that's right.
I was 5, you lied to me, right? And so then from there, you moved on. You mellowed out, you know. Is that when we looked at what number 2, the African slave ships that came from Judah?
Now check this out. Now part two was when I wrote the books were designed. You and I have never had this conversation as long as I've known you. You know that?
No,
This
no.
is ironic. But I had designed each book to take the reader from one consciousness to the next. So each book has been designed. People that use my work, they don't understand the work. The books have been designed as a stepping stone from one step to another in consciousness. So who am I? I was supposed to bring you to the knowledge of who you were. The African slave ships that came from Judah was designed to show you unequivocally with maps, eyewitness accounts, that you are indeed Israel. But then something happened. As the Negro Question series began to take off, I started seeing in the comment sections that the brothers that's all over in the Middle Passage, the Americas, they were upset with the Hebrews in America. You know what they were saying? The brothers in America act like they're the only Jews.
So what are you speaking to? The Middle Passage? You speaking to the Caribbean?
Yeah, the entire Caribbean, the Indies,
Okay.
And so I had to start. So once I started seeing, I said, man, they correct. Because the Hebrews in America have neglected the Middle Passage, the brothers in the Americas.
Okay.
So then when I started putting when I put the spreadsheets together, showing where each one of the tribes went, I made it a point to include the brothers in the Americas. So part 2 was me writing to the entire captivity, but at the end of the day, I had an epiphany myself. That's where the Lord opened up my understanding and showed me, you brothers and sisters in America, y'all not the only ones.
Okay. Yeah. The North America, but we do have the Caribbean and we also have South America.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, it's 100 million. It's over 100 million Hebrew Israelites in the Americas. Always, that's my little phrase with an S, Americas. that are being neglected by the brothers right here in North America. I hope that answers the question. I know it was a little roundabout, but
No, it did. This is, your writing is, like you said, it has been, it's a progression, and
exactly what it is.
You've been born along and guided on what to write and when. And that's what makes these books so very powerful.
Well, you know what? The Negro Question book series, see, people don't understand. If you go back and look at the timeline from the brother Ron Dalton, who has from Negroes, from Hebrews to Negroes. Look at the date on his first book. My books are older than his. In fact, when he wrote his first book, he called me and asked me, could he use material from the Negro Question? But he never mentions that. But I always like to bring that up because I was the first one to put images on the front of the books.
Okay.
And I was also the first one, and I probably still am, the only one to put the artifacts inside the book and then put the reference beneath the artifact, as opposed to
very important.
Because to me, I said, this makes no sense. That you got to keep flipping back and forth to the front and back of the book. Why not have a reference right there so they can what? They can fact check you while they're reading.
Right. And that's important because a lot of people really don't know how to study. Not all of us are scholars. We don't really know how to do that. And so you put it right there. That's
fact
important. That's what makes it so beautiful.
It's unique. Yeah, there is. Go ahead.
What was the date? I mean, when
the first book was written in 2011.
Wow. Okay.
The first book was written in 2011. Then all of a sudden, the copycats came out the closet. But see, the problem with the copycats is they can't keep up with me because I keep doing. I keep breaking out a brand new style.
So you go from
the Negro Question, who am I?
Yeah.
To the African slave ship that came from Judah, to the Black Pentecost.
The Black Pentecost. That's the one I'm still waiting on.
The Black Pentecost. There you go.
That's number 3.
I'll take care of you, I promise. And I'm here to give you something. We got another book coming out, and I'm gonna give it to you for free. But this new book that's coming out is a 5-column book. The King James Version of English on the right, the Book of Genesis. Aramaic in the second column. The third column is the alphabet. The fourth column is going to be a translation key. And we may even have a column for Spanish. I'm toying with that, but
nice. Okay.
Now the Black Pentecost was designed to show that everybody that showed up to Jerusalem on the day of Pentecost, they was all black folks. That's
from all over Asia Minor.
All the people was black. Everywhere. There was not one European. First of all, if a European had showed up on the day of Pentecost, and I'm not being racist, audience, but if an Anglo-Saxon or a Slav had showed up to Jerusalem on the day of Pentecost, they would have stoned him to death because they would have thought he was unclean.
So hold up. We have to look at the timeline. So I know you got the dates. So Pentecost was when? What are we looking at? We're looking at
in the Bible. It was around 29. It was like 29 and a half, 30 AD.
Okay.
The entire world came down to Jerusalem. The known world.
So that was way before the so-called Renaissance, when the Europeans
that was about
started,
1600. That's like 1600 years before the Renaissance.
Before that,
but this is the thing that the listener has to understand. The Renaissance was It was when blacks were still in charge of Europe.
In Europe.
But as the black nations in Europe begin to capitulate or begin to fall, the white barbarians that came into the land began to paint all the artifacts white. This was the white version of the Renaissance.
Of the Renaissance.
Why did they have to paint them white? What is a barbarian, sister? It's a group of people that don't possess an alphabet.
Okay.
So you went around you were a nomadic people. You went around fighting and destroying just like they're doing today. And so they came in contact with civilization. So the only way they could catch up was to do what? Paint over everything. But the only thing that killed the lie was what? Eyewitness account. But let me stop talking.
All right. All right. So after that, after the Black Pentecost, where everyone that came was a person of color from all over the globe. The missing link, that was number 4.
All right, see, number 4, I stumbled. Now this is a real, I want you guys out there to know this is a real interview. We've never had this discussion, right?
Never.
But it
seems
like this has been pre-planned.
This is fresh.
I know, right? Personality and everything. Now check this out. I stumbled into the secret of the missing link because I'm doing my research and I'm doing the math. You know, I used to be an accountant. So everything that I do, even biblically and in my writing, I have a timeline. And I noticed that 300 years of European history was missing. I was like,
uh-oh.
I kept saying, wait a minute, man, what happened here? 300 years.
Wait a minute. Now, what did you see that let you know that? What was the very historical stuff? What was that?
It was when I think back on it, I started looking at from 1600 to 1900, and I was like,
okay,
the history is missing. Then I started looking at the writings of Boyd Dawkins, Professor Boyd Dawkins, and where Professor Boyd Dawkins describes the Britons as being black people. And then I started looking at the different writings of the different white historians that describe the Brits, the Scots, the Irish, and the Welsh, and the ancient English as being people of color with curly, nappy hair. Then I read a piece that was written in 1643 that gave an eyewitness description of the Scottish Isles. All these people were black. And then the Lord gave me the works of the former Secret Service agent for Queen Sophia, John Mackey. He gives an eyewitness description of King Charles' sons and grandchildren being tall, lanky, black like their father. I said, wait a minute, I got 300 years here. And I said, now I see why they did this. That's why they called it the Dark Ages. I stumbled into the missing link. Okay. And then check this out. And once I saw the Lord showed me that, I just kept following the line. And the line led me, part 4 and part 6 go together.
Okay.
Part 4 and part 6, if you know how to use the books, you teach them together. Why? Because part 6 is what? The 13 black colonies.
The 13 black colonies came from the missing link.
Came from the missing link. That's that next evolution.
Oh, that's right.
Don't that make sense?
Completely and totally.
So the missing link did what? It did something else. It showed me that when those slave ships left Liverpool and docked in Africa, they had what? They had the black Europeans on there. They stopped in Africa and got the black Hebrews, and then they came to the Americas. That's why I had you see that imagery in part 4 where the guy got the cards in his hands. He's playing cards, and he got different names on the card. I stumbled into that wisdom. And then I said, okay, 4 and 6 go together. And then part 5 was written, what I like to call out of time. Why? Part 5 is Joseph in the 12th dynasty of Egypt. So part 5 was written, it's not connected to none of the work. It was written out of time. You feel me?
I do.
So part 5 stands alone because what does part 5 do? Part 5 just deals with the fact that Moses was black, Joseph in the Brotherhood was black. It deals with the black pharaohs, things of that nature. But part 2 and part 4 and part 6, they are to be used or taught together.
That gives us
and wait a minute, 4, 6, and 7. The Swarthy Memoirs.
The Swarthy Memoirs.
Think about it, because if you prove that the 13 colonies were black, the Swarthy Memoirs say what? The memories of these people were what? They were all black. All these generals, the colonists, everybody. I know got a little head of the interview, but
No, but
I
that's
get excited.
perfectly, and that brings to
So
mind
that's what happened.
a quote of Benjamin Franklin in the book. All of these European nations, and that it was just the Anglo-Saxons who were purely, supposedly white.
But this is the thing they get me about the Europeans. They write in their books that, this is a quote in all their history books, that the barbarians overran the western leg of the Roman Empire in 450 AD. They tell you this, but they don't give a description of the barbarians. They was white. Who is this barbarian right now? It is the one you call an Anglo-Saxon. The one that's ruling over you in America. The one that's down there. I can't say that on the air, on your show. But we'll talk about it. Go ahead. That's all right. We got to be careful.
Yeah. Oh, so brother, which one was the seventh seal? No, which one was that?
No, that's a book that it stands alone. So we got two books in the series that technically they stand alone. Joseph and the 12th Dynasty of Egypt and the Seventh Seal. The Seventh Seal was written for a time such as this. You go to, some of you people, you go to Sunday churches, some of you are Muslims, some of you Buddhists, and you go to church or you go to these temples and you see this combustible or all this military activity around the world, and you keep everybody saying the same thing or they're asking the same question: are we living in the last days? Is this it? Well, the Seventh Seal was designed to show the reader, based on the writings of the prophets and the apostles, step by step, proven by scriptures, how this thing is going to end. What to look for. If you follow the signs in the Seventh Seal, you can sleep at night. I get phone calls from around the country. Is this it? Is this the end of the world? I said, man, what do the scriptures teach? The man of sin got to go inside the temple. They got to build the third temple first. The Seventh Seal tells you all this. And go ahead.
And I was just going to say, your mathematical background plays into this so succinctly. You break it down to numbers beautifully.
Listen, the Seventh Seal could bring you, and this is a secret. If you're listening today, whenever this plays, you're gonna walk away with a golden nugget. Mm-hmm. The Seventh Seal could bring you within 5 months of the second coming of Christ, 3.5 days of the second coming of Christ, and the day of. We just can't give you the Lord to put the fix in that we can't know the exact year. It gives you the feast day that he's coming back on, but I can't give you the exact year.
The which one? Yeah.
That's the only thing, right? That's the only thing he hid from us.
Well, as he should, because you know how we'll do. We'll just play.
Hey man, always to that week of and then go on the fast and be clean, you know? I know I would. Yeah. That's it in a nutshell. I think I might have overran the time, but getting back to the fifth book, Joseph and the 12th Dynasty of Egypt. What's so critical about the book? Well, what's critical about it is that the Egyptians found a coin in a chest in Egypt that has his image on it and his name. And he's a black man with an afro.
Name?
Huh?
What was his Egyptian name?
They still had that name that they had from that long name.
That long name.
But that name, Joseph, the coin says Joseph, Obadiah, governor of all Egypt, on the coin. And that's in the book, and it shows Joseph as a black man. And most of the artifacts, I failed to mention this, but most of the artifacts, 99.9% of all the artifacts that are illustrated in the Negro Question book series come from major museums around the world. So if I take it from your museum and your national museum, that's indisputable. Because if you try to dispute me, now you're a fraud. Because I took this from your museum.
Right.
That was intelligent, wasn't it?
And you have put it all together in one
That's what
spot.
I did. So
yes.
I did it by the Spirit.
Yes.
Like we
well,
say,
we
by the
appreciate
Ruha.
you for it. We appreciate you for it, for saying yes. Because the Spirit could have asked you, told you, guided you, and you could have said, no, not me.
Let
But
me
you
tell
said
you something.
yes.
The sacrifices, people, like I talk to a lot of Hebrews. And some of these guys study an hour a day, if they do that. And so I tell them all, I say, man, if you're not putting 4, 6, 8 hours a day into your research, you'll never catch me.
Yeah,
you'll never catch me. I knock out your hour total in one day. You done. So you putting that 1 hour in, how you gonna get anything from the Creator? And you know, he goes by a lot of different names, right? They call
you
me
gotta
the
show
Creator.
you mean it. Yeah, you gotta show you mean it and you want it.
You got it, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. But there's one thing about this journey. You know, I don't know. I think me and you briefly spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, a week back. That wisdom is an elixir, and you become addicted to wisdom. But what people don't understand about this gift called wisdom is that there are real casualties along the way. You start losing people that you love. Because this thing, the old timers used to say it like this: something got a hold of me, and it'll guide you down the road. You start, that person that you love, that person's gone because they think you done lost it. But
there's sacrifice.
You know what I'm saying? It's you start seeing it, don't you? You start losing things along the way because they think you'd have flipped out. There's a break. They think it's a psychological break with reality, and it kind of is. You know, because
that's reality.
Well, you're being led by the Ruha. What is the Ruha?
Right.
In Aramaic, the Ruha is spirit.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
But there's this reality that is not reality. Yeah.
That is
and then
true.
There's
that other. The other reality is real. This reality is what? This is fake.
This is counterfeit.
Well, you know, you can tell it's fake if you stop and think. The bread you eat can't keep you alive. Your food can't keep you alive. The water does not keep you alive. If it was real, I would never die.
Exactly.
That's when I started realizing, hey, wait a minute. These diamond rings, these Mercedes Benzes, the way I dress, this is all superficial. This ain't real. The bank account is not real. That's when I learned.
Yeah. Yeah, you are truly rich. Your wealth of knowledge, and you've decided to share it with us. You know. Well, you know, not only do you have these books, but you have a DVD, a video, and I've seen it. And
how did that grab you?
It grabbed me and it shook me and it held me down. Let me tell you, I love it.
Praise God, because. The funny thing about the video, a lot of people don't know this. When I was putting that video, that docu video together, the Negro, what's it called? I Know Who I Am. Yeah. I had to get up at 2:00 in the morning because the guy that was helping me put the video together lived in Pakistan and India. So I had to get up at 2:00 in the morning to correspond with him. Then I had this girl down in Morocco that was helping me do my animation. So I'm literally in 2 or 3 time zones putting this piece together. That is the God's truth, and that's one of the most compelling things about the video to me. Is these different time zones and these different people from other walks of life that I was working with to put that together.
Beautiful.
So you didn't know that. We never had this.
Then
I know.
We haven't. Yeah, but it makes me appreciate it even more. So I'm going to have to go back and watch it so I can feel the.
And check this out. Now, we missed one book, the Negro Question Dictionary.
Oh, we did.
We missed one
book. that Paleo-Hebrew dictionary.
That dictionary.
The one you were describing in the beginning with the 5 columns. Okay.
No, this is something different that's coming out. The
This is
Negro Question
different.
Dictionary,
Okay, okay.
yeah, the Negro Question Dictionary came out a year and a half ago. And what's so unique about it is the artifacts, the way I put it together with
Mm-hmm,
Aramaic and English.
mm-hmm.
But when I published the Negro Question Dictionary, I became the first African American in the United States and possibly the Americas to publish a dictionary. It just gets better.
All
Hey,
right.
this thing just keeps going on, right?
It doesn't it?
I
Because
know, right?
you keep being obedient, doing
So
as you're
hey,
told.
we gonna be coming out with with the Book of Genesis in English and Aramaic with a translation key that's
Key. Okay.
gonna be totally different.
All right. That's the little excerpt you sent me. Yeah. Looks like we
Yeah,
just had a little
yeah. You
video
should tinker with
freeze.
that a little bit
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the
because
letters definitely move. I would say they're dancing.
I told you this.
Yeah.
I think Aramaic has to be in a heavenly alphabet and language because it appears that it was the language that was spoken in the Garden of Eden. Now I
Mm-hmm.
can't prove that one yet, but I'm getting closer to proving that. But I got some other stuff that the Lord has shown me that I have not had the opportunity to show to the world yet. But you know, as I start moving around doing these presentations, I start sharing more and more.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to hear about it. I keep me posted, and I'm definitely bringing you back on because we need to spread the word. Everyone needs to read these books. Like you said, it's not just for us as a people. This is truth for everyone because everyone's been lied to.
This is true. You know, you look at the history of humanity, or
Mm-hmm,
what I call humankind.
mm-hmm,
Humankind, the people, the nations have been moving around for the last 6,000 years, and there's a distortion of history worldwide. Case in point, Netanyahu gets on international TV and says that the Jews had never been displaced. Well, historically, that's impossible because uh, the Old Testament proves that they were carried captive to Babylon. They
That's
were
the whole
carried captive.
essence.
They were carried captive to Assyria, and
Yeah.
They were sent across the Mediterranean in 70 A.D. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I'm bringing it up is because if you don't know history, you're gonna believe what you hear.
Exactly. In the media. It's
Yeah, you're
amazing.
doing a good job, man. Stay on the wall. Keep doing the good work. Hey, don't worry about people gonna talk, and
Of
people talk
course.
about anybody that's doing something. So you know what? Let it roll off one shoulder. Just keep moving because you're doing a good job, sister.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm in good company. So
Mm.
we're in the mutual appreciation society here. You know,
All
brother.
right, that's some good
Keep
sentence structure.
keep doing keep on doing what you're doing, and I'm going to keep on, sharing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you smooth with this. Hey, y'all support this sister, man. It's a good woman.
I love it.
All
Well,
right.
we'll go ahead and close out.
Okay.
I thank you so much for spending time with us here on the Illuminations Media Network, and all of you who are listening out there, who are watching. Whether you're doing it in this time frame or maybe it's way in the future, 50 years from now, we appreciate you. Please, please remain in a space of love and always, always ask questions about the truth. Yeah. Peace and blessings, Brother Lee, and everybody out there. Until next time, this is Tamara signing out.